Well, hey there, you guys. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am Janeen, and I am talking about becoming the CEO of your life today. This is a super exciting episode. Not only is it my 150th episode, but there are a lot of changes that are happening around here, and I want you guys to be in on all of the things. So I feel like I've landed on something really special in my business, and it's this. I am moving forward working with women who want to become the CEO of their life. And I'm super excited to tell you all about it in this episode and what it is that I mean by that exactly. And that is going to be the name of the podcast. It's the name of a brand new mastermind that I'm rolling out and all of the things. So before I get into the content today, full transparency, this is the way we do things. I know some of you are listening in the background and watching and wondering how things really are. And I'm telling you, we try things out, we test them, it kind of works, we tweak it, we pivot, and we shift, and things become more clear. One of my business coaches, Ryan Levesque, he used to say all the time, motion breeds clarity. And that is the truth. And so I'm showing you how to do this. I am moving forward. And I think this is going to be amazing. But we can't just think about things. We actually have to test them. We have to take massive action. We have to get some data and we have to shift, and we have to do this over and over and over again. And as we do that, the vision becomes more clear. And that's what I'm doing today. There have been times in my business and with the podcast and I'm like, well, should I just start a new podcast? I mean, I'm talking about things that seem really different from when I started my podcast. And I don't want to do that because I want you guys to see the journey. I want you guys to see how we start and how we shift and how we pivot and all of it. And also the things that I talked about in the very beginning of the podcast are still applicable to what I'm doing now. I'm just really niching down and honing in on a very specific piece of becoming the CEO of your life and taking charge, really, and living out a really meaningful and impactful purpose in your life. So that's what we're doing today. I'm putting this out there in the world. I think it's amazing. One of the things that I learned from Russell Brunson is that he used to say, and he probably still says this, the only way to know if it's going to be something that is successful is if the market decides and lets you know, and they will tell you, yes, this is something that we want, or no, this is something that we don't want. And if the market doesn't want it, if you don't want it, then we're definitely going to run in this direction for a while and see what happens. And then we're going to pivot. So that's how we do things. And I'm also going to be testing different things as I'm running in this direction for a while. I'm going to be testing the languaging and the messaging in order for this to really land. So I'm giving myself permission to do this. Full transparency. This is how we work. And I'm giving you permission to do the same thing in your life and whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. Okay. So I've noticed something in the work that I'm doing with several of my one-on-one clients. I have been having conversations with them about this very thing, and I decided to call it becoming the CEO of your life. And it came about like this. I was talking with one of my clients, and she was talking about feeling stuck. She was talking about feeling frustrated and feeling like she wanted to make a pivot. She wanted to do things on her own, and yet she was still bogged down and trying to do so many of the mundane tasks in her life by herself. And one of the things that I said to her in this conversation is I said to her, well, what if you were able to think about it this way? You needed to focus on becoming more of the CEO of your life. And for her, kind of the bells went off for her. And she just really lit up. And she's like, yes, that is exactly what I need. I need to become the CEO of my life. And she got excited about it. And I got really excited about it. And it was just a really, really fun conversation. The way that I'm pivoting in my business is I want to work with women who feel like there is more for their life. They want to take on something meaningful. They want to make an impact in the communities that they live in or the world in a new way. And they have worked super hard raising their families and getting to this point, and they feel super blessed. This is the thing that's really tricky about these women, is they feel super blessed And they feel like there's more, but they feel like they should be grateful for the things that they have. And so they kind of talk themselves out of this call or out of this idea of doing something different because they feel a little bit like a fish out of water for sure. They're just like, I'm not quite sure what to do with my hands. I just had a photo shoot and that was something that came up all the time. It's like, I don't know what to do with my hands here in this picture. And that's what it feels like, but on a much bigger scale when you are making this really big pivot in your life. I have found that women often get to a point where their kids need them less, of course. And what they do as a parent or as a mom in particular is a lot less hands-on. They still have things going on, of course. Some of them even run businesses of their own, but they feel this friction and they feel kind of this unsettled energy. And it's almost like a dissatisfaction with their life, but they wouldn't admit to that because, like I said, so often they feel like they should be grateful for the things that they have. But like I said, there is this nudge, there is this thing that they want to do, and they're not even sure what it is yet. And they feel guilty for even thinking that way because, like I said, so much of what has gone on in their life has been amazing. Not that things have worked out perfectly for sure, but overall, their lives look amazing from the outside. They're comfortable, yet they're uncomfortable. And they're uncomfortable with this discomfort, and they're worried that if they step into the discomfort, they're going to feel uncomfortable more often because you will, right? And that's the fun part. But there is this calling for change, and this friction, I believe, is a calling or a nudge to make a shift and to make an impact in a different way. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Being a mom is extremely important. I think it's one of the most impactful things that we can do in our lives is raising a family for sure, which is so challenging. The work we do at home does definitely make an impact in the world, but kids grow up, right? And they need us so much less. They need us in a different way. That's not necessarily hands-on 24/7 like it was when they were little. So, like I said, there's this idea or this energy of doing something different that is exciting. They have more time, they have more resources, of course, now that they're in a more, I don't want to say mature stage of life, but that really is what it is. Or older, we have more resources at our fingertips, not just time, but also in a lot of ways, finances at our disposal as well. But the thing is this is what happens with women is we often downplay these ideas that we have because we've never done anything like it before. And we're not sure how, and we're not sure what to do, and we're confused about where to start. And I have felt this many times in my life, not just starting a business, of course, but also the pivots that I make in my business and homeschooling my kids and the nudges that I have felt all along. There is definitely this uncertainty, like, really? This is the direction that you want me to go? But this is where I can help. And this is where the mastermind that I have created comes in, because this is what we are going to do. Number one, inside of this mastermind that is called Becoming the CEO of Your Life, we are going to develop a much greater vision. You're going to get clarity around this call and what it is that you want to do. What is the next phase? And kind of thinking big picture and big vision. And I think some people might even know what that is. Others need a little bit more structure, but most people struggle with self-doubt. They downplay what it is they're capable of. They have this desire to do something greater, but they hold themselves back. It's like kind of they get in their own way of achieving this dream. These are all things that I talk a lot about on the podcast, right? Priorities and dreams and vision and having a mission and creating this transformation. It is the journey that you have to make in order to see yourself in a totally different role, right? Recently, I invested to work with a business coach. I'm about 6 weeks in working with her, and she is blowing my mind because I am in her world, and she is talking to me about things that she sees, potential that she sees in me. And also just, what she's been able to accomplish in her life. And it is transformational to be in a room with people who are like that. And it's crazy to me to see where I'm at right now compared to even like 3 or 4 months ago, not even just working with her, but even before that. this might be the very first time in your life that you're dwelling in the realm of possibility. And it is a beautiful place to be hanging out, where you're looking at your role and what you're capable of in a totally different light. This is a space where you see you have more independence, that you're not so much in a family-oriented role anymore in your life, but you are taking kind of the bull by the horns, life by the reins, if you will, and you are taking charge and you're running in directions that you didn't see yourself moving in 10 years ago. One of the things that I love to think about is, what if that were possible? What if I was able to create that or do that or make that kind of a difference in the world? It's exciting and it's scary at the same time, but it totally lights you up and it totally gets you excited about starting the day. I was talking with my husband, for example, the other day. This is just an idea. I'm just going to throw this out there because I think sometimes we think about these really big things that people do in our lives, that it's not our calling, it's not our gig. And so they feel heavy and they feel overwhelming to us. But if we pick the right thing, if we understand that anything really is possible for us in our lives, and we pick something that would be like, oh my gosh, are you telling me I could actually do that? I could actually create that. And yes, I'm here to tell you that you can create something like that. Then it totally gets us excited. So let me give you an example of this. I was talking with my husband the other day. You guys know he's a dentist in the Air Force. And all he wants to do when he retires from being a dentist in the Air Force in just a couple of years is humanitarian type missions. My daughter is doing a humanitarian mission this summer for our church in Guatemala. And they put out an email the other day asking for dad chaperones. They needed more male chaperones to be on this trip. And he's like, oh, I just wish that I could go. And I think once he retires, he's going to want to be doing so many more of those kinds of missions. He's done a mission like that in Peru as a dentist, and it just lit him up. So I'm talking about things like that really resonate with your soul. Those are the things that we are going to spend time exploring inside of the Becoming the CEO of Your Life mastermind. So if that sounds like something that you want to do, I definitely want you there. So beyond that, beyond clarifying your call, we are going to find the freedom to do what matters most, because some of you might be super excited. You're like, I know exactly what it is that I want to do, but I don't have any time, because we often get caught in the weeds of our life. We get caught in the details of the daily things that are going on. And this is what I specialize in. This is my expertise. This is what I've been talking about on the podcast, is being able to create the freedom to do the things that matter most. So we talk about this all the time on the podcast, but you're going to make a shift in the way to help you get things done that matter to you, that are aligned with this call or this mission or this vision or dream that you have in your life. And I know that so many of you are like me and a lot of my friends, that we're just scrappy. We are just super resourceful, and we're used to doing a lot of things by ourselves. But becoming the CEO of your life means that you are able to delegate things, you're able to simplify things, you're able to eliminate things to create the freedom of your life. And that is one of the things that CEOs are good at, is they can see kind of this high level. They're seeing life from a higher vantage point, kind of the 30,000 foot view of your life, not the 5-foot view of your life where you're down on the ground and you're doing all the grunt work, but on a higher level. They're not caught in the weeds. They're not focused on the mundane things of life. They're moving from the mundane to making an impact. And in order to do that, you have to think differently. You have to be managing the work that needs to get done so that you can free up time to make that impact. And there needs to be systems in place in order to do that. So that's kind of the next point, is you have to create these sustainable systems. Again, this is something that I'm really good at. If you're someone like I was, and so many of my clients, who is used to hustling super hard to get things done, you'll know that that's not sustainable, right? That is something that creates burnout, which I know a lot of you are experiencing right now. And one of the things that we need to learn how to do when we become the CEO of our lives is creating sustainable systems that support us in the work, that we need to be doing. And so we're going to be talking all about that inside of the mastermind. Okay. The next thing is that you have to, of course, build the confidence to make it happen. So many people, and I did this for years, they downplay the things that they are capable of. They downplay their greatness because they're like, well, I'm not like that. I'm not like that person. Well, guess what? You're like you, and you're going to do it different than anyone else is going to do it. And that is what we need. I know that confidence comes from past experiences and being successful at doing things that we routinely do in our lives, right? I know that you're incredible at getting certain things done in your life up until this point, and stepping into that CEO role and stepping into this new mission or this new vision, something that you've never done before. It's a new arena, and you probably don't have any confidence around getting things done. Not only getting the task done, but also in yourself and seeing yourself and taking this project on and being successful with it. So instead of focusing on confidence, which we can create even around doing something that we've never done before, there is a way to do that. We're also going to focus on creating self-confidence, because I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but the worst thing that can happen to us in life is an emotion, right? Where we feel humiliated, or we feel so disappointed, or we feel like other people are disappointed in us. That's not actually something that we feel, but we have thoughts around that, right? Or we might be embarrassed about something. We might even feel like we're a failure because we tried something out and we changed our mind around it. Like, for whatever reason, you want to make a pivot. And I think sometimes we feel disappointed in ourselves about that. We get frustrated in the process, or we might feel nervous about doing something that we've never done before. We might have to ask others to support us and they might shoot us down. We might feel rejected, like all of those things. There is discomfort in not knowing what to do and how to do it. And self-confidence is your ability to feel any emotion and have your own back and be like, okay, discomfort is along for the ride today, and I'm here for it. That is what you need to develop. Those are the types of muscles that you have to develop in order to become the CEO and execute on your dream. So the most amazing thing for me is being able to work with women who feel ordinary and want to do something extraordinary. And I know that they're extraordinary, and getting them to see that in themselves is going to just completely transform my life. It's also going to completely transform theirs as well. This really is about a journey of more abundance, living an abundant life, knowing that they have lived an abundant life and wanting to share their abundance and even become more abundant in this process and making an impact in the world. We are designed to progress. It's 100% possible to use this next phase of your life doing something that you didn't even think was possible for you. And it doesn't have to be this massive global thing. When I started, my dream was to become a yoga teacher. And for years, I had this idea of building a business, and I dabbled in building a business for many years. So I totally get that. But what I want to save you from is dabbling. We don't make progress when we dabble in the way that we do when we develop belief, an unshakable belief in ourselves and what it is that we are capable of. And I want to work with women who desire that and who want that in their lives and are excited for this next chapter because they feel like they're on a mission. They have something to do in this life that's going to leave the world a better place than the way that they found it. There is power in surrounding yourself with women who think that way, who think in a like-minded way about making the world a better place. You feel less alone. It feels less scary. There's more collaboration. There's more support. And it is exciting when you start to see things level up. This truly is the privilege of my lifetime, not only to raise a family and to have an impact in that way, but to work with incredible women like you who want to collaborate and rise to the challenge of whatever life is calling them to do. So if you want to join me on this journey, it is going to be absolutely incredible. And if you made it to the end of this podcast, then this is something that I know has resonated with you, and I would love for you to be in this mastermind group with me. If you sign up soon, there are some fun little bonuses that I'm going to throw in before we get to the mastermind in October. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, I would love for you to join me. Go ahead and go to janeenalley.com/breakthrough. I'm going to put this link inside of the show notes so that you can just click it. There's a short little survey for you to fill out there. And then we are going to connect, and it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to talk to you and to listen to what your story is and how this podcast episode resonated with you, and to see what is going to come up on your journey. So I would love to be there with you on that. I think that we are here to make the world a better place for sure. And if I can be a part of that in your life, that would just be so incredible for me. That is why I'm here, is to help you make that happen. So if that sounds amazing to you, reach out to me, janeenalley.com/breakthrough, and let's make this happen. All right, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. We will talk to you soon. See ya.